Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yo, boom!
What a mark.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Accidental Wrestling Fan in the Zoom studio. We've got a few guests. We're waiting on the couple. They've got some things they need to wrap up or maybe having some technical difficulties getting in. So we'll just start with who we've got. Sean, how's it going?
It's going great, man. Glad to be back. 2 weeks in a row now.
That's right. 2 weeks in a row. We're happy to have you back. We're happy to be doing this consistently again. We've got the great Joey Lino. How's it going, sir?
Going well. I need this job. I just lost my ass trading GameStop and AMC and all those stocks this week. So, yeah, I'm here for the long haul.
Safe to say you're not going to the moon.
Nope.
Sorry
no
to hear it,
diamond hands here.
And we've got a very special guest, someone who's been on the show before, the great Jake Knew. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I don't have quite as timely of a pop culture joke to make as Lino, but I hope that me being on the show can maybe pop a rating. We'll see what happens.
Well, thank you for the ratings boost, injecting the lifeblood that is much needed for our fledgling wrestling podcast. So this week we've got 3 topics that we want to try to cover. One of them we'll probably cover pretty quickly because I would dare say that most of us were either drunk or just not really paying attention for the 2021 Royal Rumble. I guess just quick thoughts. What did you guys think?
It was a decent Rumble. I mean, it's not the worst Rumble I've watched, but having Edge go coast to coast at almost 50 years old is kind of an interesting watch. So, I mean, having him win didn't bug me at all. I mean, I guess it bugged a lot of people, but it could have been worse. There was really nobody for them to push with Keith Lee going out for COVID reasons and missing the Rumble. I mean, I kind of wish that Keith would have been in there to get that push.
Yeah.
Jake was like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Lino. That I think probably changed the booking of the Rumble. If you go and look at the eliminations and how everything kind of played out, there wasn't a real dominant person in the Rumble. A lot of the eliminations were spread out across the field. We've got a tie for most eliminations, which is Big E with 4 and Damian Priest with 4. Bobby Lashley had 3. He eliminated quite a few people right when he came in, but no one really stood out and dominated. And I feel like Keith Lee probably would have been the person that dominated this year's Royal Rumble and really got pushed as a monster, as a true favorite. But of course, like you said, Sean, he was not able to be in it. So I want to ask you guys pose this question. Did you think that the men's Rumble was not as well put together as the women's Rumble? I saw a lot of people on social media kind of toss that notion out there.
I did enjoy the women's Rumble more. I think the final 4 that we came down to, and even then the final 2, was really compelling. That entire match, even between all the eliminations and the way they happened, was very well set up. I found it hilarious that Bayley got a off-screen elimination for one of their top women wrestlers. Didn't even get eliminated on camera. So, but other than that, the way it flowed and the way the eliminations happened definitely felt like it was a better planned event than the men's Rumble.
Yeah, I always question how they have it set up from a production standpoint, where when the next person comes out, the person making their entrance, like the main camera is focused on them. And I wonder if they could set up some sort of camera that somehow includes the ring and the entranceway, so that way you can still see kind of what's happening and also see the people that come out. And back in the day, in the 90s, things like that, the people making their entrance would usually be kind of like a picture-in-picture thing, but they didn't have the big countdown back then. People didn't get their entrance theme played really. So it didn't have kind of like that spectacle behind it like we do now. So I wonder if there's a way to miss things like Bayley getting eliminated during an entrance after she'd already been in the match for like 30 something minutes. I think she was in the match. Let's see here. Bayley was 29 minutes and 8 seconds. So she was in there for quite a while, but almost half of the Rumble. And so it's just kind of weird, those production gaps that happen in the Rumble still.
They had to get that 8K camera usage out of it, you know.
That was very weird when people were making their entrance. What'd you say?
Dame's going to get half hot about the 8K camera reference.
Oh, no, I like the 8K camera. I forget what the nickname for it is, like the Monster or something like that. Like some crazy nickname camera operators have for it. I just thought it was kind of weird they would use it for the entrances for the Rumble because it's such a high definition camera, and it kind of took you out of the match a little bit. People are making like these crazy, like almost cinematic entrances, and there's people fighting in the ring. Like the person making their entrance, like their entrance is important, but it's not as important as to the action that's happening. So I feel like it kind of takes away from it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy that camera. It just probably wasn't the best place to use it. I want to talk about real quick. We won't spend too much time on this Rumble. A lot of people kind of panned the last man standing match, the Universal title match with Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens. I did not notice this until after it was kind of brought up among text groups and social media. The ending was botched. The referee straight up stopped counting because Roman couldn't get out of the handcuffs.
Yeah, I threw that out in one of our group chats because for whatever reason, I got locked onto the ref for a second and I focused on that backup ref that came in after Roman deposited the first one, which I thought was actually a cool way to stop the count at 9. So then when the other ref came out and started counting, he was like, you got to like 5, and then he went 6, and then he just basically put his whistle in his pocket, and they showed Heyman and Reigns like struggling mightily to uncuff Roman, and I think like probably a good 20, 30 seconds went by before Roman kind of like hunched down like a eagle stance and got on his feet. But yeah, they definitely blew that.
Been there before. I know how that goes.
Yeah, I was saying just from referee's experience, you know, Mr. Lino, what would happen normally in a situation like that? Do you just have to kind of roll with the punches and keep counting, or do you just?
So, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So one time I was refereeing a match. It was Michael Elgin against, God, I should really know this. I forgot who he was facing, but Michael Elgin was in the match. And the finish called for, it was supposed to be a time limit draw. So, you know, as the ref, you can't just be like, okay, that's the time, it's over. The bell is supposed to ring, you know? So I remember how the match was supposed to go was it was supposed to be a time limit draw, like right as I counted 2, like Elgin was going to get the 3 count. But it's not a win because the time expired. So I forgot exactly what had happened, but there was some kind of like, I knew going into that match, so there was some kind of miscommunication with who the actual timekeeper was. And I like was not feeling confident about this guy at all. So, you know, we come time to do the finish. He hits the finisher and I'm just like, shit, I know he's going to fuck it up. So I'm like 1, 2. And I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to like have him win the match. So I just stop. I'm like, that's it. Time limit draw. Like, that's it. And like Elgin, he did a really good job of selling it. Like he got pissed. He's like, what the fuck? Like, and ends up like clotheslining me. And we get to the back and I'm just like I feel bad because I'm like, I know it wasn't supposed to be like that, but I mean, the timekeeper wasn't doing his thing. So what was I supposed to do? So I went up to somebody who's like, let's just say he's very well respected as a trainer in the pro wrestling industry, especially in the Detroit area. And I went up to him and I'm just like, okay, so, I trust your opinion. What am I supposed to do in this type of situation, with what happened? And he's like, you are just, if that other guy's not doing his job, then you're just supposed to do what a referee does. You just count the 3 and, it's not on you if the whole finish is fucked up. So to answer the question, I mean, I was taught in that situation that the referee should have kept counting to 10, and, that it's not his fault. He's just doing his job if he keeps counting to 10 in that scenario.
Okay. I guess probably maybe the only difference would have been, I don't know what promotion you were working for on that evening, Lino, but I don't know if you had a bug in your ear back to Gorilla with probably like 11 people screaming in your ear like that ref probably had that night.
That's true. I didn't have the earpiece. We weren't that advanced just yet. So if he was told to do that, then I respect it, which I'm like 99% sure he was. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that was a judgment call or if Vince was just going ape shit that his world champ was about to get counted out.
Was Owens on the ground at that point, or is he still standing?
I thought he was on the ground still.
Okay, so it would have just been a draw.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, if the ref would have did what I thought the refs were supposed to do, which is just to treat it like a shoot and keep counting, then it would have been a draw, it would have been fine. I guess maybe they would have to just do a blow off tomorrow on SmackDown or something, another fucking blow off with that feud. But I don't know. It definitely takes the wind out of the sails with the referee. Their integrity kind of gets compromised and they can't do their job because someone's like, stop counting, and basically fuck the whole thing up. So I feel bad for the ref. That's not on him. But yeah, all in all, you guys seem real enthusiastic about the Royal Rumble. So we'll move on to the next thing I wanted to ask you guys about, because this seemingly has gotten more traction than the Royal Rumble itself. Oh,
yeah.
Is my internet screwed up, or is Lino time traveling?
Lino's time traveling.
He's a goner. He looks like he's enjoying something a lot right now from what we got.
Yeah, so Bad Bunny, he did the halftime show, so to speak, for the Royal Rumble this year. He performed the song Booker T, which is a very popular song. I'm not super familiar with Bad Bunny's discography, but I am aware of who he is. I've heard him on a couple songs. He was on a Cardi B song. I Like It Like That. So I wasn't going into this blind, but a lot of people in the internet wrestling world were like, who the fuck is Bad Bunny? It's been going on like even deep into this week of people kind of like arguing and going back and forth about Bad Bunny. So I guess like what are your guys' thoughts about Bad Bunny's inclusion in WWE, him probably having a match of some sort with John Morrison or The Miz at WrestleMania? Just kind of your takeaway as to that relationship.
So people who don't know, he's one of the biggest Latin pop stars out there. I mean, like, I don't listen to a lot of top 20 radio stations anymore, but I can at least say, I've diversified my music probably in the last 3 years. And thanks to COVID, I've really diversified my music. He's in it. The WWE is obviously trying to appeal to a certain audience with him being in there, and a younger audience, and not a very Southern white audience that, probably is having more of the problems with it. But I was more worried when he almost botched that jump and slipped and thought he was going to land on his head. So, WWE always does this now. They have a celebrity get involved. I think the last one I can really remember was when Owens powerbombed MGK through a table. But it generally happens. I think that blew off pretty quick, though. Owens really didn't come of anything with MGK getting into a match or anything. So, but if this does turn into a match, I mean, it's nothing different than Maria Menounos a couple of years ago getting involved in a tag team match. So,
yeah, it's for me, it seems very harmless. I guess a lot of it, kind of the flack that I've seen are people seemingly taking offense to him being called like the biggest pop star or one of the biggest stars in the world because their mindset is, well, I've never heard of this guy, so he can't be that big of a star. And it's become this weird conversation, like this weird discourse of people basically saying like, yeah, you watch wrestling, of course you don't understand anything that's cool, but then people very, very defensive about not knowing things outside of their own personal bubble. So I thought the whole conversation has been very fascinating. And again, being bored and sitting at a computer all day and doing social media for my job, I'm reading timelines and shit all day. So I've been kind of blown away at how much traction that his involvement has gotten in the last week or so. I say, Lino, do you have any thoughts about Bad Bunny? You're a big Bad Bunny guy, right?
I only knew who he was because of that Corona commercial with Snoop Dogg, where Snoop Dogg's like, "Where you at, playa?" And he's like, "No, it's playa." So because of that, I'm a big Bad Bunny guy, but I could not name a single one of his songs besides Booker T, which I heard for the first time on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday was my introduction to him as well. I thought when I heard Bad Bunny, I was thinking Bad Bobby at first. I thought that was the chick that was on Dr. Phil so many years ago, and I was surprised to see it was actually a gentleman that was rapping with Booker T. But I read that they had like the WWE got some kind of crazy, was it YouTube or Instagram hits over the course of the last 5 days on anything Bad Bunny related. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. His videos, one of his videos has billions of views. Like to say that he's not a big star because you never heard of him is just like an objectively ignorant thing to say. Like his stardom is there, like billions of views, like millions of people or billions of people have watched this guy's videos on YouTube. His 2.5 minute video on WWE's YouTube channel, Bad Bunny Performs Booker T at the Royal Rumble, has 3.2 million views in the 3 days that it's been uploaded. Bad Bunny bringing Damian Priest to Miz TV from Raw February 1st has 1.3 million views. So he's been generating a lot of views for WWE. So I don't know. And it's again, it's not like it's necessarily taking away from the product. It's no different than any of the other times celebrities have been involved in WWE and they found a way to use it to bring up Damian Priest. I know the original plan to bring up Damian Priest is to just randomly have him team with Rey Mysterio. But this seems like a good way to kind of get Damian Priest called up without him having like the stigma of being attached to Rey Mysterio constantly. So shout outs to them. He's obviously a big wrestling fan, and I don't think it's that bad of an involvement. I don't think it takes away from the product more than any of the other dumb shit that WWE does. I don't think it takes away from it like Alexa Bliss turning into the girl from the ring when she gets upset. So I just kind of shrug my shoulders at people's kind of downplaying his celebrity.
As a wrestling fan, it's like, I don't care who the celebrity is. If you can get somebody from outside the wrestling world to get some eyes on WWE or whatever the wrestling promotion is, I mean, I feel like that's a good thing no matter what. I mean, it could be somebody who, I don't even necessarily care for. Not that I really have an opinion of this guy one way or the other, but don't see, kind of like what you alluded to, like, what's the harm in having somebody like that is going to help out get more people to watch the product.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good thing if you can get more people to watch your product and not necessarily sabotage anyone else's character or anyone else's ability to draw ratings or viewership or anything like that. It's not like they're having Damian Priest go out there in like a tutu and dance around and shit. Like they're just having them be introduced by proxy with his relationship with Bad Bunny. So I don't really see what the big issue is. And, I think it's cool. Like I said, it's harmless, so whatever. Now, our two guests here, Pigpen, he's finally been able to join us. He's kind of been just chilling in the shadows, hanging out. Haven't had a chance really to introduce him. But, you want
Doing
to
all
say...
this Bad Bunny talk here. I've been a big fan for a while. He was one of the first guys that was wearing the chalk line jackets. I remember a couple years back, the Razor Ramon and the Kane. He had the whole get up, I think, before maybe they were even like around. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those like retro jackets they do that everybody wears, like WrestleMania. But that's the first time I heard of Mr. Bunny. And of course, the second time was after the Dead Man showed up in the commercial for his concert in Puerto Rico, the third show in Puerto Rico, which the Dead Man was persuading him to do so, to do that third one. But yeah, I'm happy to see he's getting a shine. It's just one of those things, there's always going to be celebrities that are not famous in the United States. Robbie Williams, one of the top English pop stars that can't walk down the street in London. People have no idea who that guy is here. He was a Justin Timberlake before Justin Timberlake. Just goes the same with every industry of entertainment, sports stars and music, movie, doesn't matter. I think people are ignorant if they don't know who Bad Bunny is, really, just because he doesn't sing in English. Maybe he does, actually. Not sure about that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was to say, to your point of if he brings eyes to the product, I'm kind of split down the middle on that. They're going to usually watch the terrible match or segments he's going to be in and sometimes dip out. I can remember, like, in past WrestleManias, the people that were at my house for the Snooki match and whatever, they didn't really care about anything else. So I don't know how many people are going to stay, hang around the store, so to speak, once they buy the thing they want, So I'm kind of mixed on that. I don't think there's any NBA fans that are going to be trying to watch Shaq and Cody. I just don't really buy that. I think that you got to have a hot storyline and maybe have some already, some interest in the professional wrestling sport to even care about it. But I think at this point in 21, people know the deal. They know celebrities are going to be in wrestling. It's not even that big of a thing anymore, I think, for pop stars to be around. But hey, they get the YouTube hits. More power to them. Do it. But anyway, yep, happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the insight, sir. So
a long-winded introduction.
Yeah.
I had to fill all the backlog of not talking. Got the cat on me here. See, Sean had his dog. See, Jake's got his cat back there. Lino, I'm not sure what animal he had behind him at that point. But I'm going to ask you, Jane, about the baskets you have behind you, man.
My girlfriend Paige, she put those together on the wall. She thought that it would kind of spruce up the room here. Originally, this office was supposed to be the Zen room. That was kind of the original intent. It was a place to relax and do yoga. But then as COVID happened, it had to turn into an office for us. So that's how we use it now. And we got some other cool stuff in here. Like I've got some action figures and Funko Pops that she bought me. Like I've got a Michael Myers from Halloween 2. I got some Stranger Things stuff. I got some really cool. I don't want to get up and show you because the camera is attached to the computer. But she got me the patents like framed for.
Oh, I remember you showed us that.
Yeah, the Rick Rude and Hulk Hogan Hasbro figures. It says January 1991 on them, so those are pretty cool. And she got me a Batista Funko Pop. It's always been used because it's out of the package, but I thought that was pretty sweet.
What's that stick behind there? Is that a walking stick or a hockey stick or behind that chair there?
Yeah, I think it's some sort of walking stick. So she does some antiquing from time to time, and she works on furniture. And I think that was one that we kind of just randomly found like at a garage sale, and I ended up picking that one up. Actually, I don't even know how much I paid for it, but it kind of reminded me of the dude stick from The Lion King, Rafiki. But yeah, anyway.
Oh yeah, Rafiki.
Yeah, Rafiki. When's Rafiki getting?
That's a name I hadn't seen in 30 years.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rafiki, man. Whoever did his voice. Was that Morgan Freeman or something?
I
Someone
want
like
to.
really famous.
I want to say it was Robert Guillaume. Man, yeah, Robert Guillaume. He passed. He's known as Benson from the Old School show, the Butler. He passed away 4 years ago.
Man, rest in peace, Rafiki.
Rest in peace, Rafiki.
One of the most famous cartoon monkeys of all time.
Yeah,
top 3.
Yeah, right up there behind Curious George.
Curious George, Rafiki, I'd say, and then there's got to be a third. Who's one of the top cartoon monkeys?
What about the Family Guy monkey in the closet? Probably. I know you're not a personal fan, but you have to recognize. It's just like Bad Bunny here. We have to recognize.
All the listeners at home are thinking they're screaming someone's name right now.
What is it? The fucking Magilla Gorilla?
No.
Magilla Gorilla, you wouldn't put up there?
Cartoon monkeys? I don't think so. Top 3? No.
You say that
Hanna-Barbera, dude.
Let's say you say that to a bunch of boomers and Gen Xers, they're gonna say Magilla Gorilla.
We're gonna have to turn this into a Patreon. We're gonna have to parlay this.
Patreon exclusive.
Watch us on Twitch. Let us know top 3. What's top 3? Your Mount Rushmore of cartoon.
Let me know, and I will create them in either Fire Pro World or WWE 2K19, and then I'll put them in a triple threat match, and they'll wrestle, so that way we can figure out who the greatest cartoon gorilla of all time is.
I'm sitting on my hands waiting for those answers to come in because the number 3 is going to bother me all night.
Waiting with bated breath.
Yes. So
let's just get right into what I know, Jake and Phil, your expertise is, because you guys are you keep up with the product a little bit more than I've been able to. So I want to talk about the AEW and New Japan working relationship last night. A moment I think not just you two, but I think a lot of people in the wrestling world, myself included, Sean probably. Kenta finally showed up on AEW to attack Jon Moxley. Was that something that truly shocked you, or did you have a feeling that it was gonna happen?
Weirdly enough, I read. I never ever read these, but I was sitting here bored yesterday afternoon reading the on Reddit the pre-Dynamite discussion thread. I was scrolling through it, and like the top parent comment was. It was quote tweeting Kenta's tweet yesterday, which was, today's going to be a great day. And every reply comment was just kind of shitting on the guy for suggesting that Kenta would show up. Just because he's trolled this for maybe like 4 months now. And so everyone, I think, just kind of gave up on it. But I saw the show was live last night, and that kind of just made me go, Moxley showed up on New Japan Strong last week and kind of really made this thing official. So I was kind of like, if it happened, I wouldn't have been shocked, I thought. And then when it happened, it was still so shocking that I was like, holy shit. I think it was executed really well with the mask on. I watched it like 5 times today where he pulls the face mask off and then the COVID mask off. Man, it was I thought it was really super well done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, my stream, because I don't have like a cable box or anything like that. Wink, wink. It was a little bit behind you, so I got the text message that Jake sent in our group chat probably 30 seconds before it actually happened.
I regretted sending that as soon as I sent it. I didn't want to be that guy. I was so so caught up in the moment. I couldn't help myself. I felt like Phil wasn't watching either. I think I spoiled it for the whole.
No,
game,
I saw the
say.
text. I knew something had happened, and I turned my phone upside down. I turned it upside down so I didn't see anymore. But I knew that something had happened, and so I knew like by the frequency of text that there was something, and I put two and two together. I did see the tweet earlier that day. But yeah, to go back to your original question, I was kind of in the same boat. I knew it was a possibility because he's been trolling, but at this point, I thought it was not going to happen. And I mentioned earlier today in our group text that I really do appreciate the secrecy in this era. I don't know if it's pandemic or if it's just the way that Tony Khan rolls, but it's refreshing, man. Like I can't remember a Royal Rumble in the last 10 years where you saw someone that was truly like just a total, surprise. Even like AJ, we all knew that he had pretty much, sealed the deal. It's still shocking when it happens, but yeah, it was a great moment. Tony Schiavone with, why is he here? The whole thing from top to bottom was great. I just wish he would have connected.
Yeah, I'd like
with that GTS, but that was it.
One underrated part of it I thought was because I listened to it back a couple times today was Don Callis cracking up in the background and like acting like he was in on it. Just opens up a bunch more doors, I think. They can probably revisit and say Kenta was the guy that attacked Moxley and put him out of action for a little bit before the title match against Omega a couple last month, late November or so. So just this whole kind of snowballing storyline where you got maybe Callis and Omega are 10 steps ahead of everyone and are planning this whole world takeover. That just kind of is another piece of that. It looked like last night.
Yep. Beautiful.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. I'm really excited for them to have a working relationship with each other. And, according to the Wrestling Observer, I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but obviously every other wrestling website is going to have some sort of transcript of it or kind of, paraphrase what was said. And, this is something that happened, I think, due to the pandemic, of course. And then I don't know how you say his name, but the former president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Harold Mage? How do you say it?
I think it's Meiji. I listened to the radio. I listened to it earlier. He was saying Meiji.
Meiji. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so he seemed to he seemed to be kind of one of the big roadblocks in them not really being able to have a working relationship. I think a lot of that might have been due to how a lot of the guys from the elite left New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, and then even like a guy like Trent Beretta, how he was supposed to get a big U.S. title push and agreed to the terms, but didn't end up signing the contract. He ended up going with AEW. So I could see that there was a little bit of bad blood there, but it seems like now, after about 2 years or so, they were able to kind of mend fences. And I am very excited to live in a world where you have all of these different wrestling promotions that are willing to work together. It kind of creates more of a connected universe than WWE might have, where WWE doesn't even acknowledge sometimes that NXT exists. So it's nice to see people from the NWA and Impact and New Japan all being on one program. It's really exciting to see. So
one thing that was interesting that Dave said today was how New Japan didn't think that AEW was a big deal, and they didn't think it was going to be a big deal up until I'm not sure at what point, but they said that it, at least it seemed like maybe at least for the last up until like 2020. Maybe midway through or something, that they didn't really think that this was going to be a big thing. So that's part of the reason why they never wanted to work with them. Maybe because it wasn't going to be something that was going to be around for very long. So
I think the timing of them announcing their U.S. show today, which will start airing on, they said the Roku channel on Thursdays, seems a little bit. Maybe I'm just not reading it right, but seems a little counterintuitive to, them teaming up with AEW. If they're technically I know there won't be competitors in the same night, but if they're going to start having guys on that show, and and then the day after they have guys on Dynamite. It's just I guess it's a breath of fresh air to see how, a year or two ago under their former regime, they probably would not have even entertained anything like this. And now they're willing to start up a TV deal, knowing that they're going to be at least fourth in line in the U.S. as far as, most popular wrestling company, just based on TV schedule wise. And they're still willing to dive into it. I want to see how much they actually trade talent if they do. But I don't know. I don't know what the potential for this could be. I don't know if it'll get as big as like the tippy top guys trading over. If we'll see the Ibushis and Okadas and Jay Whites on Dynamite and all that. Just happy for this right now. This is a good start.
Yeah. What I was reading today, it sounded like that Roku channel was just going to be like old footage from like 2020 and even further back. So I don't even know if they had plans on creating
like a clip show.
Yeah, it's like a clip show, because there are already, I think, Roku channels that are like clip shows. And what I was reading was, I think that they're going to monetize it like YouTube. Like they're just going to run ads, and it's just going to. So I think the announcement today is it sounds way bigger than actually what it is. Yeah, it's cool that they're doing a US show, but on Roku, okay. Oh, and it's a clip show. Okay. Like, that's great. Like, you go past the headline.
Yeah, it was a really vague article.
Yeah.
And they didn't specify whether or not they'd stop doing New Japan Strong.
Roku probably asked them, like, hey, do you guys want to come on? Like, I'm sure, like, Roku wasn't the first choice for these guys,
But they had been, it's been speculated, though, for months now that they were testing the waters with New Japan Strong to see if they could build their own TV brand. So if that's true and it's just basically a throwaway show with clips and stuff, I would think they still have something planned to eventually get Strong onto like an actual US TV platform. I guess we'll see.
I would thoroughly enjoy having a New Japan US TV show presence. I think that's something that's missing. I think that's something that could get way more people in. I think New Japan offers such a different style than WWE or anything we really have here that would really drive more viewership from a lot of people who don't normally watch wrestling. It was really interesting, a couple years back when, you'd mention Kenny Omega and people would kind of know it in passing or know it because they saw his shirt in Hot Topic or something. But actually being able to, have him now in AEW, but then have like now this New Japan talent be recognized here in the States would be huge. I mean, I have New Japan World, I'll turn it on, but like I really would kill for something live here, or them to have a bit more of a presence on like a TV station here, even if it's just Roku, or if they somehow expand into like Access or something else, that would make shit so much better for the wrestling community here in America.
What do you guys think of Sonata?
Hey,
welcome, Kaz.
Oh, what's your opinion on Sonata? Jake.
He's gorgeous, but I don't know if he has what it takes. I don't know if he has a mean streak in him. We'll find out. We'll see how his world title reign goes.
He lacks the fire, doesn't he?
After next week, when he enacts the fire, I guess we'll have to judge his title reign based on that.
He ain't beating Coda.
What Sean just said, that reminded me, man, there's really no way they can do a live show, with the time difference, with the main roster. I mean, they could do maybe a US Dojo show, but that's an interesting thought I just had. I don't know if anyone else.
I think that's what it would be, though. That's what I mean. I think they're building up the Strong brand in LA to be kind of like this mixture of young lions or just graduated young lions, and then like actual like gaijin talent, and that would make up that brand. But who knows?
And then the U.S. champion would probably beat its main dude.
Yeah, I was thinking that title would be their world title.
Yeah, I'm excited for the idea of New Japan kind of coming back to American TV, even though I know that when it was on Access, it wasn't necessarily new content. It was just kind of shows that had happened like a month or so prior, kind of chopped up like the best matches. And then the occasional live special, which were always really cool. But I like
agreed. Amen. Let's diversify this bitch.
Diversify our bonds.
Yeah.
So Kaz, you just joined us. What's going on, man? We did the Royal Rumble review. It went swimmingly. Everybody just gave glowing reviews to the Royal Rumble. We couldn't stop talking about it. I just want to know if you had anything to add to it.
I mean, I thought it was a bad show, to be honest. I thought the whole show was bad, really. Drew McIntyre Goldberg was I thought the last man standing match was just a bunch of smoke and mirrors, really. And that handcuff spot or botch was, oh my God, horrible.
Tell us how you really feel.
The Rumble matches were forgettable. I don't know. I think the Royal Rumble needs a crowd for one, and it definitely lacked that. I'm not really too upset at the winners of each Rumble. I wanted to see Rhea, but Bianca's cool, and I think we all knew Edge was probably going to win that match, so it is what it is. I didn't think it was a good show all around.
Since you mentioned that the Royal Rumble needs a crowd, who would have gotten the biggest pop of the night?
Like surprise entrance wise?
Yeah, any from either side.
If there was the crowd, I'm guessing Carlitos would have been pretty big. Damian Priest, I think, would have got a huge pop. Probably Rhea Ripley as well. I can't even think of everybody else who was in it.
I love Carlito coming back.
Victoria?
A lot of people would pop for Christian.
Yeah. I was going to say Christian. I was like, damn, he's already kind of forgettable.
I saw a Reddit thread about how the Edge's reaction was a shoot. He didn't know Christian was there. They're arguing about if that was actually a thing or not.
I saw that same thread, and a lot of people thought that was dumb because then, like, how would you even structure the match if you didn't know who was coming? Like,
there's no way. Don't they got to get like tested and stuff? They're in a giant stadium and they're like locked in there all day long. Like, hey, best friend, kayfabe brother, what are you doing today in catering?
Also, like, what are they doing with Orton? One week he's a psychopath. 1 week he's burnt. 1 week he's not burnt.
Okay,
in the Royal Rumble, he came off as like a bitch, like, oh, my leg, blah blah blah. It was like he's going through like all these different like things, and it's just they don't know what they want to do with him or something. Then they just go back to the fucking Fiend thing on Monday. So it's like, what the fuck?
My mindset was because I had a feeling like through this week, this is kind of in the back of my head that one of my friends would say something about that, and I thought that the mindset was Edge and Randy didn't really get a chance to have a blow off because Edge got hurt. So they would have been 1-1 against each other. I felt like the way that they kind of told that story with Edge and Orton in the Rumble, it felt like a blow off. The way they structured that, where they started off with each other and they started hot and they kept fighting. Then, Edge thought he might have hurt Orton. And then Orton was actually playing possum so he could come back and try to screw Edge over again. And then Edge reverses it and beats him and overcomes the guy that hurt him and cost him his chance at trying to win the title back last year. That the way they structured that felt very much like a blow off. And I thought that was kind of cool that they could blow off a feud while using a Royal Rumble without actually having like a one-on-one match or a gimmick match.
But then they had a match the next night.
Right. That's like because they didn't have the Fiend, and I thought that was cool to not have the Fiend involved, to just let them have this blow off and then move Randy back to facing off with Bray. But then they had them have a match on fucking free TV, And then Alexa Bliss got involved, and I don't know. I think their mindset with stuff is so stupid. Like, they have people face each other way too much. Like, Sasha Banks and Carmella have been facing each other nonstop for like 2 months, and the matches are good. But now it makes Carmella look bad because she has these good matches, but then she just loses instead of just spacing it out. And maybe they have a match and then they have another match again, like 5 months down the line, and have other challengers cycle through. Sasha beat Carmella, so Carmella is just kind of useless as a challenger now. She doesn't serve as a threat. I get kind of frustrated with that, the way they book feuds in WWE.
But is it more or less like WWE lacking that superstar power? I mean they gave us Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. There couldn't have been another guy instead of Goldberg.
But to be fair, whose fault is that? That's WWE's fault.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that
they're not pushing anyone, and they're just rehashing old feuds over and over again and bringing back these old guys and throwing them in. It just, that's WWE's problem. They lack they're lacking in creating new stars. That is the ultimate problem.
Keith Lee kind of felt like when he came up, felt like a little bit of what happened with Kofi when Kofi beat Orton clean when Orton was champion, and just it went nowhere. Like when Keith Lee kind of was beat some people clean. You know, I understand the COVID thing kind of probably disrupted what would have been his push at this point, but like it kind of feels like they've gone nowhere with him. Like for most of the time he's been up in the main roster.
I mean, that's one thing I'll give AEW credit for. They've built a lot of new stars.
Yeah, I agree. And then also they don't necessarily recycle the same challengers. I mean, of course, the company's only a few years old and they've only had, 3 champions? So, you know, 3 champions have all had decently long runs, but you have a lot of different people that get thrown at them as challengers. Like Scorpio Skies had a title match. Phoenix has had a title match. Eddie Kingston has had, a couple title matches. I like that the champions have to go through a myriad of challengers. It keeps things fresh. It keeps things unpredictable. But when you have a guy like, oh yeah, this guy's been the champion for 290 days, but he's only faced like 3 guys in that, 290 days, it doesn't really make him feel like he's that dominant of a champion. He just keeps facing the same dudes over and over again. And that's a huge problem I've had with WWE for years, even dating back to when I was like a teenager. I always thought that was kind of lame. And I think that's
sorry. It's like when Drew lost the title uselessly to Randy Orton. Like, what was the point of that? Just to break up his title reign to say he lost the title?
Yeah, like I think they were worried about maybe having him be the champion straight through. Maybe if they put the belt back on Orton, ratings might pop, ratings might go back up. But it's like no one gives a shit about Orton having the title for 14 days. Plus, like having the belt on him for 2 weeks, like there isn't even a small or big enough sample size to support him like boosting ratings or ratings going down or anything. It's like it's 2 weeks. That's nothing, So I think sometimes WWE just does these bafflingly stupid things like take the belt off the guy that they've been building up for years to finally come back and get the belt, just either to try to pop ratings or to say that he's a 2-time champion just to kind of pad his stats. And they just do a lot of really dumb shit, for lack of a better term.
I kind of feel like the men's division has somehow become the old women's division where it's like somebody would hold the belt for a little while and then just have a useless loss to the title match, and then they'd regain it back, and then it's just sitting for a while. Like they've badly botched their men's division in building up new challengers for either one of the titles on either shows, and we're just all sitting here like something's supposed to change, and it's not. I get keeping more guys down in NXT is kind of probably because you need to support the 3rd show now on USA has probably stopped some newer things coming along. But at the same time, we weren't getting a lot of it in the first place. I'm really hoping that when Damian Priest finally does make the full jump to the main roster, if this is his push to the main roster, that he's pushed as a legitimate title contender, because the man is a star in the making. Like he's ready for it. Same with Keith Lee. They're both ready for that star title push. But is WWE just going to keep pushing them off because they got an old legend who came back who, they know will pop ratings for 1 or 2 pay-per-views and then go away? I always got mad when they put the belt back on Lesnar. Whenever Lesnar comes back, he's going to have the belt for at least 7 months, and he's going to defend it twice. So it just kind of makes it hard for me.
The thing I don't really get about like pop rating or whatever the fascination is with bringing Goldberg back every few months now is you're not selling tickets right now, and all of the money that you made off of Peacock or Fox or USA deals is your lifeblood. Pay-per-views aren't a thing anymore, so that doesn't matter. So what is the risk of, throwing out Johnny Gargano or Keith Lee or Aleister Black against Drew McIntyre on one of these shows? What are you risking by doing that instead of going back to the Goldberg well? I don't even get – if there was any age where you could make that risk happen, it seems like right now is the perfect time to experiment with that.
How Aleister Black doesn't have a title shot yet since he's been called up is beyond me at this point.
He wasn't even in the fucking Rumble. Aleister Black hasn't been on TV since the end of 2020. He randomly got turned heel. Then the guy that hurt him ended up turning into a heel. He had no feud or blow off with him and Seth Rollins. Then he turned heel on Kevin Owens, and they had some solid matches. But where did that take us? They both got traded to SmackDown. They never interacted again. Aleister hasn't done shit since he's been on SmackDown.
Well, like Jake said, if there was ever a time to experiment in wrestling and try some new shit, man, oh man, it's right now. And WWE has just dropped the ball. They gave us the Thunderdome, though. So
are they just mad because his wife? Are they just mad at his wife because she left, caused them to fire her, and they're still mad about her whole Twitch thing?
I think he wouldn't have got pushed, regardless of that. Like, they weren't doing anything with him. Even when they called him up and he was undefeated and he beat AJ with the Undertaker's help, I thought, oh shit, they're actually going to push Aleister Black and really try to make him into a star. He had a match with Lashley that was serviceable at WrestleMania, and then they didn't do shit with him after that. He would just disappear from TV. Like, I feel like that's a guy that they really dropped the ball on. He could have been a guy that could have challenged McIntyre in one of these random pay-per-views, in between challengers or in between a cornerstone show. I don't understand why they wouldn't try to take a chance, like Jake said.
And one last thing or maybe not last thing, but one thing that grinded my gears about the Rumble, and I was pretty indifferent to the match overall. I didn't think it was bad. I thought a whole lot of nothing happened. They based it around the Orton injury thing and then didn't really do anything else of note besides a couple of surprises. But was it just me, or I guess first off, does Cole announce, does he actually do commentary in the Thunderdome, or is he recorded?
It looks, on SmackDown, he seems like he's there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's there, but it does sound like it is recorded.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it's just me, but there were at least 6 or 7 or 8 themes that I didn't recognize right off the bat. Some were surprises. Some were I don't know, Rollins or some guys with unfamiliar themes. And it felt like the second a new entrant hit, Cole went into his spiel about, he's a 6-time Intercontinental Champion. And it was a half second after the entrant was coming out, Cole was already going on a big diatribe about the guy's resume. I was like, what the? Let this shit breathe for a second, unless this is just some shitty production where they're matching up at-home recording audio. I know NBA TV or TNT does that pretty shittily now in the COVID era where they're not syncing up audio to the game. That's what it felt like the whole night. I was like, why is this guy going on and on about an entrant and the guy is not even out yet? It was 0.6 seconds into the music hitting and he's already fucking rambling. That's it. That's all I got.
Probably has a list of who's coming out before they come out.
I know he does, but don't make it so obvious, Mikey.
Yeah, you can hear, and I know if you guys, anyone out there that's done any sort of audio recording or video production or anything like that, sometimes people just sound like they're not in an arena. You could tell like the way the person's voice like echoes, like the reverb, it doesn't sound like they're in the venue. Sometimes it sounds like he's in a room talking, and it's kind of off-putting sometimes. And I get that they, pre-tape shows, and they'll tighten things up to try to make the show run smoother, especially in this COVID area. You don't want to have people maybe just congregate in the area for too long, or if you got to pre-tape something, you might as well use some post-production to make it go smoother. But it does sound kind of weird.
Yeah,
I was listening on these headphones right here. I was like this, and every time they did the countdown, the crowd countdown, I was going like this because it was edited. It was garbage, man. It was just what you said. It was amateur night at Royal Rumble when they edited the countdowns for the crowd. It was just like, I don't know if they took them from the video game or past Rumbles or something, but there's a way you can smooth it in and it'll sound right. But man,
it's been like that for months.
The
added in sound is.
I'm pretty sure they use the video games.
I have heard that. But I mean, I'm okay with the video game, the ambiance, the crowd noise when things aren't happening. But like when you add like the jarring difference of sound quality when the voices come in.
I think whenever I turn NXT on is when the stuff catches me the most, because you have actual like people there that are banging on the cages or whatever ringside, and then they're trying to awkwardly splice in like video game soundtrack fans in with it, and that's when you hear the contrast, you can really tell that it's hilariously done.
Yeah, hilarious is the perfect word for that. It sucks. And the NXT, the banging on the boards thing, that's cool. AEW, they do a little mix of both, I think. They have like a little bit of fake noise in there.
They have random weeks when they're not live where they'll just do like this weird ass elongated crazy, like soccer style crowd where it's just a continuous just like roar for the entire match, and they do it randomly. I don't know when they pick and choose to do that, but I don't think they really need to anymore with actual crowd and the fans ringside. But
I
don't know. It's I'm just ready for this shit to end, man. Just pump my arm full of fluid.
I'm getting that Road Warrior dosage next week, so I'm pretty excited about that.
What?
For real? Legit? That's a shoot?
Yeah, it's a shoot. I am a first, not a first responder, but considered a frontline worker in the city of Detroit because I'm a public servant. So go me.
Let's say Wayne, my wife just got that for her being working at the hotel, and now I guess my mom works for DTE, so they get certain dosages for like their nuclear power plant workers down in Monroe. So I guess she said they got a lot less this week because Wayne County's about ready to put it out there that, any hospitality worker in the entire county can get it now. So that'll be nice getting those injections out to people.
Yeah, man. Just pump my veins full of chemicals. Maybe, next few weeks on this show, you guys will see me with the fucking Cobra traps like I'm Ryback or Ludwig Borga or something. I'm ready for it. You gotta
sell the vaccine like Devon Dudley in that one video.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Can we discuss how WWE hasn't decided to just use the Citrus Bowl yet so they can have people actually there? Like, if AEW is willing to use the Jaguars Stadium, why isn't WWE reaching out to Orlando and saying, can we just use the Citrus Bowl? Nothing's going on here.
Seems like the whole Jaguars owner connection, they're probably getting a pretty sweet deal because they own the place. So I don't know, who knows, but it seems like that would be really, really costly even for Vince to try to foot that bill every week, twice a week. It's the WrestleMania's at the Tampa Stadium, right?
Yeah, it's at Raymond James.
What do you call it, Lino?
Ray J.
That's right.
It's 2 nights, and they're supposedly going to have whatever the Super Bowl's having. I think they're trying to go off of
25,000 fans and 25,000 cutouts.
Yeah, something like that.
What's going to be?
Are they going to have the Weeknd perform like the Super Bowl is?
No, they'll have Bad
No, it's
Bunny
Bad
do a
Bunny.
show.
They got a lifetime ironclad contract with Bad Bunny.
I'm okay with that.
I heard a rumor that The Weeknd was supposed to perform last year, and then that same rumor, I think Haley Williams kind of confirmed this. She was supposed to play one of her songs for Bailey because her and Bailey are friends, and Bailey was going to walk out to one of her songs. So they would have had a few like big names at WrestleMania last year, but obviously no, that didn't happen. But The Weeknd somehow is the theme song for WrestleMania this year, which is always so confusing to me when they pick his songs.
It's off the same album as the one they used last year. So same logo, 2 nights in a row, just like last year. Same Weeknd album for the theme song.
Really getting use out of it.
It's so weird. Like, I want to know what's going on in those production meetings, like when they're kicking around song ideas. Like, someone's like, we should go with The Weeknd for WrestleMania, because nothing gets me more pumped up than a Canadian pop singer talking about fucking cocaine and all kinds of like, what the fuck?
I get not wanting to do like Skillet for WrestleMania because, you know, you want somebody a little more mainstream because it's probably a lot of, the casual fan that's going to tune in. But
they weren't above using Skillet like 10 years ago or Saliva.
Or Downstate or whoever.
Saliva was big time 10 years ago, brother.
Right.
Maybe.
Just get Highway to Hell by AC/DC again, like at the end of your house.
It's like they'll get Metallica to do like a random song for The Undertaker. They can't just use Metallica as the fucking WrestleMania theme song. Like, or if they're going to use hip hop or any sort of like, just use harder songs in The Weeknd. Pro wrestling to this day, and I've said this so many times in the show, I've said this so many times to you guys in conversations, but personal conversations. Why is pro wrestling so bad at leveraging the connection to hip hop? They are almost seemingly allergic to it.
Unless it's
Rappers
Flo Rida.
love fucking wrestling. Yeah, Flo Rida. Like, that's the only rapper I can really think of doing anything at WrestleMania. Even AEW, like West Side Gun was at fucking almost all of their shows, I felt like, for the first 6 months. And they somehow have not had him do even anything with the Butcher and the Blade. I think the only rappers that I've seen show up on AEW are JPEG Mafia, and is that it?
How we never got Kurt Angle to be played at a WWE event still beyond me.
A bass guy playing Kurt Angle at a WrestleMania would have been unbelievable.
JPEG Mafia was on the show or just in the crowd?
He was on the show. He was in a segment with Darby Allin. Oh, and then Snoop, of course, because of the Go Big show with
Shaq.
Cody.
It must just be like a cost that like they would rather not foot is to, pay what West Side Gun and what Conway want as opposed to paying their in-house, vanilla rappers. So
I was going to say Machine Gun Kelly, but he's like an alternative rock star now, according to the most recent SNL episode that I watched. So
he's invading pop punk right now.
Wow.
Funny enough, that is his most well-performing album that is put out, which is kind of funny if anyone's ever followed the career of Machine Gun Kelly. I guess, I don't know. I mean, it just, hip-hop and pro wrestling are so synonymous with each other, and it's kind of insane. Like, the hip-hop songs always suck in wrestling. Like, there's never any good rappers that do anything with wrestling. Like, it's just so weird. I guess it kind of goes back to that Bad Bunny thing of a lot of the people that watch wrestling obviously aren't the type of people that you would imagine to watch hip hop, because most of the people, especially WWE, that watch it are like old white dudes. So yeah, I guess I could see why West Side Gun's not showing up to the Royal Rumble.
Dude, when I went to Starrcade, that was just like, and they played hip hop music. There were people who were so angry at the Greensboro Coliseum, just listening to hip hop in between matches. I was laughing so hard.
Best wrestling promoter I ever worked with is very well known on the Detroit hip hop scene, from what I know.
Oh,
Talking
Sorry.
about Mr. John Stone.
I'll leave it at that.
So,
Bill picked a good time to freeze up. Winter has come.
So I guess as we move into wrapping this episode, is there any final thoughts does anyone have on, whether it's the Royal Rumble, Bad Bunny and celebrities, some wrestling, the AEW New Japan working relationship? Like one of Valid brought up a couple points last night, Jake, in our text group about people's perception of Kenta, the average fan not knowing who Kenta is, that sort of thing. Like, do you think that is a hurdle moving forward in this relationship of having some new faces showing up that haven't been established on the show? Or do you think that's just something that could be easily overcome, as these people make their appearances?
Yeah, I think that is kind of, I've seen just more people than just, Valid make that point. And it's true that he's not a household name, but I think that if you have a whole show where you're moving a bunch of different parts and you have, the Shaq appearance over here for any potential casual fan, and you have Kenny Omega and Moxley on the show, I don't think it hurts if you're devoting, a couple segments a week to try and build up this relationship with other companies. I think that just personally, and I know that all of us obviously know who Kenta is, and I know that he got a lot of people excited last night by crossing over to the show. Your core audience is still going to be your core audience, and they're still going to be excited for, bona fide legends like that showing up, whether or not they're, known to the casual fan here. So I think if you're splitting up your whole show and you have a 2-hour show and you're devoting a little bit of kind of something to everybody, that kind of thing is not going to hold you down in any measurable way.
Do you think he's more known in this country because of his time in WWE? So he is that Japan guy that could come and make that appearance at AEW, even though AEW and New Japan are kind of synonymous with each other in a way. But is Kenta still a guy that can come in and be like, oh, well, he was on NXT, he was in WWE, we know him.
Man, I don't know. His whole NXT run was so weird.
Even though it was, but
I totally forgot he was on NXT until just
That's
now.
what I was going to say. I was like, he was so off and on it because he was hurt and he was hot and cold, and he was on fire when he was in he was like probably the original NXT guy to be inserted into that Andre Battle Royal when they first started doing it. But it's been so long, and he had such a murky ending in 205 Live and stuff, that I think any wrestling fan that got excited for it last night was excited because of either his Noah run or what he's done in New Japan in the last year. But again, that's something that you can't really measure, I guess. I'm sure there are plenty of people that were wishing they could see Hideo Itami throw on the Bumblebee trunks one more time.
That's why I forgot about him in NXT.
With the Pride drums and his theme song, the Pride fighting drums.
I saw a little debate on this somewhere on Twitter that I've totally forgot about this too, that he had the GTS stripped away from him because he broke Brian Kendrick's nose. Did he have a different finisher after that for a while that I'm just forgetting? So for a long time, he only used the GTS, I think, on the show to win the tournament to get into the original or the second Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He used it to win the finals of that tournament because they did a short documentary on him. They took it away from him because of Punk. They didn't want it because people associated it with Punk. Then I think he did hurt Brian Kendrick with it. He was using like a drop kick at one point as a finisher, like the Roosh drop kick in the corner. He was using that. And then he used like this weird version on the video games. It's called GTS 18, where he holds him like a reverse DDT. Then he spins him around and then drops him face first into his knee. He used that for a while. And then just any array of kicks he used as his finish too. A Rings of Saturn submission finisher. He had a bunch of different finishers. I totally forgot about that show you just mentioned. That was like the original takeover that they paired with as far as pairing them with pay-per-views, right? I think that was before WrestleMania 31 because I remember seeing that video. It was like a fan recording of Kenta or of a Tommy hitting the GTS, and the place went fucking crazy.
Who did he wrestle for the NXT title? Didn't he get like one headline
Bobby
match to
Roode.
take over?
Bobby Roode.
Roode, that's right.
Yeah. I think that was his only real big title shot.
Yeah, he got hurt each time right before his big title push.
Yeah, because his shoulder pretty much imploded. I think he was going to win the title from Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
They teased that Owens was the one that attacked him in the cursed NXT parking lot. And then, they kind of set up maybe him going after Finn Balor when Finn beat him in Japan and Kenta was in the crowd watching it. And then they never really gave him the ball again after that. He didn't even win the Cruiserweight title, which kind of shocked me. I thought he was gearing up for a Cruiserweight title win, and he didn't even get that.
I think they were done with each other by that point. I don't know what his contract status but I think they were just about done with that relationship.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see if the New Japan AEW thing really does go somewhere. I think you need to see a guy like maybe a Okada or Naito or something show up on that show to really, get the wrestling world a buzz. Because right now you can look at it like, well, Kenta's just there to get that belt off of Moxley and go back to Japan with it. But I don't think so. But
I don't know. I think this created a buzz. I think Kenta's a big enough name, like I said, with the hardcore fans that people were pretty fucking shocked last night that he showed up. I mean, I guess relative to what kind of buzz it would create if I don't know. I don't know how much bigger something like an Okada thing would be. I want to see it, though.
Seeing Naito show up on AEW would be like, whoa. That would be, to me at least, like wow, this is big time. Not saying that Kenta isn't, but he is in that angle already with Moxley, so it all makes sense.
I think if things go back to some semblance of normalcy, I think you're really going to see the floodgates start to open when people can safely travel back and forth to Japan. I know more people will be showing up on either side of the aisle, so to speak.
Coda's been teasing a lot of shit on Twitter.
Yeah, he really wants that Nakamura rematch.
I just want Tama Tonga to come back and just run roughshod through AEW shooting on guys for a little bit.
Yeah, Meltzer was saying how that's not going to happen until, like what you said, Damon, until things get normal, because they'd have to fly to America, quarantine, and then when they flew back to Japan, they'd have to quarantine. So you're talking like weeks there to be sitting out, if for anyone to do like any sort of big traveling spot at this point. So just going to be the guys that are, in the States. So maybe Jay White, if he lives in Orlando, I think. So maybe we could see him.
One other cool thing about this, not to get too deep in the weeds about a potential relationship, but if they are working together, I think something that could be really sweet would be reverse excursions where you're sending, some of the greener AEW guys or guys that they like on Dark, maybe like a Willie Hobbs or something over to Japan for a few months, and they're working on the lower cards and they're wrestling guys like over there even if it's the New Japan Dad guys or it's the Young Lions over there, like the UMRs and the Gabriel Kids of the world. That could be just like a dual development deal, could be really sweet too.
Jake, to follow up on that point, Hook, Taz's son, I feel like would excel very much in that kind of environment. Like, how old is that kid? Like 19, 20, something like that? He, even though he's like a really young dude, he's got this kind of presence about him that seems like kind of dangerous, and it's kind of cool. So, I feel like he would do really well in Japan.
He fucking keeps judo throwing guys every I see like a new gif of him just fucking whipping a guy over his whole body every other week. There's something there. There's something there with old Hooky.
Are they just gonna call him Hook though? Like, would he need a last name?
Not if he goes to WWE. It's just one name, man.
I mean,
sure,
that name does work though.
Yeah,
by itself.
Where did they build? Actually, it made me think, like, where did they build Taz from in WWE?
Red Hook, New York.
Red Hook. That's what I thought. That's why I kind of think when I hear that. I'm like, I never even looked enough. I never cared enough to look if that was his real name, but I always thought about that.
Plus, you have the tie-in of Taz, like, always presenting himself as a legitimate, like, shooter, tough guy. Hooks are what they used to call submissions back in the day. Like, do you know any hooks, kid? So one of the questions we was asked of Dusty Rhodes when he first started training. And, there's that tie-in there. So I guess just that name could work for him.
If I wanted to hook you, you'd be hooked. Daryl Briscoe quote.
All right, boys. I appreciate all you guys jumping on Zoom tonight to chat about wrestling for a little over an hour. Hopefully we'll have Jake and Phil back sometime soon, especially to talk about AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jake, I will ask you, when is the next big New Japan show? Is it next week?
Yeah.
We're doing the
10th
the
and 11th.
double New Beginnings. Yeah, it'll be overnight into Wednesday, and then overnight into Thursday. Wednesday is Hiromu versus Sho for the junior title, and the Techers against the Gorillas of Destiny for the tag titles. And the next day, a week from today, will be the double gold title match.
Excellent. I cannot wait to watch that while I'm working and not doing what I'm actually getting paid to do. So looking forward to that. Anything closing? Anything anyone wants to plug? Projects, writing, music, art, anything like that? No? All right then. Cool. Thanks, guys.
About to watch Sting versus Diamond Dallas Page on from Fargo, North Dakota, April 26, 1999. So I'll plug that. Everyone should go check that match out.
It's actually a really good match.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
It's a good one. All right, boys. Thanks for coming by. And thank you, everyone, for watching / listening. And always remember to tuck your chin.